Oh, I love it when you stop by. I mean, it gives value to what I do, right? Otherwise, it'd be worthless. I'm John Zidar, aka the StockWizard. This is On Top and Hot, where we like to talk about hot penny stocks. And I've got one I want to talk to you about today, but it's really not a penny stock. It's $5.68. This is ticker BBAI BigBear AI. I was doing some due diligence on this stock and I did like what I was reading. And I wasn't aware of the price exactly. And then when I noticed the price, it was like, well, I'm already this deep into my due diligence. So I'm going to share this anyways. But we got a bonus that comes with this. As I was looking at the information on this company, not just here at the OTCmarkets.com website, but I was over at StockTitan.net looking at the news there. Something strange happened, and I'm not quite sure why, but another company got dragged into BBAI's news. Though I don't see any connection between the two companies. I thought there probably was, but not that I can see. Maybe I missed it. In either case, though, this merger with the SPAC is actually a kind of company I've been searching for in the AI sector. Actually, I should call it a new sector, the pick and shovel for AI sector. See, I'm looking for companies that are going to help support these AI data centers. These are going to be huge, folks, and we're going to rely on them as much as we rely on the power grids. But that's the problem here. The power grids do go down, and we can't have power going down on AI data centers. We need to have these data centers constantly fed not only power, but more power than anything we've ever generated power for. 10 times as much power. Plus, they got to stay cool. So we got to have companies that specialize in cooling. Then you have power grids. You have these modular nuclear companies that can provide instant, steady power on site. And all of these sort of companies I consider pick and shovel because the AI data centers cannot survive without these companies. So I'm looking at those companies rather than the AI data centers. So I want to share that with you since it's with the package for BBAI, though I see no connection between all of the companies. So we're looking at ticker BBAI, BigBear AI Holdings. She did finish on Friday at $5.68. She was up 1/3%. She was up 2 cents. Now, this is a penny stock in the major exchange. She's on the New York Stock Exchange, which comes with benefits compared to penny stocks on the OTC. There are no transaction fees trading your stocks on the major exchange. There normally is with your OTC. You get to trade major exchange stocks pre-market, after-market. You never, ever get to do that with OTC. There's a lot more money. There's a lot more volume up on the major exchange, which as traders is something we're looking for constantly. And there's a lot more rules on the major exchange, but they're not for us. They're for the companies, but it keeps the companies honest, which is keeping our investments safe. So we like that too. So BBAI, what is this company all about? Well, they are a AI company. Now, I don't see any data centers, but they're applying their AI to a lot of different regions. They're branching out in different areas, which is what I like to see. They're not getting stuck in one little financial niche or something like that. They're getting very, very creative. And I think the best way to see what's going on here is to actually take a look at the news. Now, I'm not going to go back too far because we are trying to stay current with these companies. So obviously, you're going to have to do some more due diligence. Go back past August 20th, which is as far back as we're looking right now. Now, the news you see here is color-coded because the yellow is for BBAI. The green is for Hadron Energy Company, which is the company merging with the SPAC Gigabyte. I do believe that's their name. They're merging with the SPAC company. But these two companies, BBAI and Hadron Energy, seem to have nothing going on with each other. So why their news is together, I don't know. So let's just focus in right now on BBAI going back to August 20th. Big Bear and the Washington Commanders forge a landmark partnership. We're talking about NFL football, folks. The Big Bear AI company and the Washington Commanders have gotten together. Now, I don't know everything that they're doing together, but I do know that they are incorporating each other's advertising. Each one is advertising the other, and I mean in a big way. So we've got that branch happening right now. Then we have them using their AI for identifying individuals, and we're doing this in very serious areas. Right now, we've got them at the Nashville International Airport. We also have them at the Chicago International Airport. They are also at the Port Authority in Canada. And what this is doing basically is just scanning your face and recognizing you without all the questions and the staring at from the person on the other side. And if you've been traveling before, if it's got information on you from previous times you've traveled, you can just walk in and walk out basically. Come off your plane, be scanned, and walk right on through without having to go through that very long line that everybody has to stand in. Now, they also have two things here which are quite interesting. They were working with one company, SMX, for a maritime domain awareness for the United States Navy. It was an exercise program, a very, very big one. And they were utilizing AI during this exercise. Well, it must have went very, very well. Because the next piece of news, BigBear and Second partnered to deliver that AI-enabled edge infrastructure to the battlefield. They are bringing it to the Department of Defense. I do believe it is the Navy. I haven't dove into this, but they have moved into the military sector now. So you've gone from sports to military. Then you've got their third quarter results here, which they're going to report on the 10th, which is on Monday. They're going to be doing this aftermarket, 4:15 in the afternoon, and they said right after that they're going to have their call. So if you want to hang around and get the CEO, CFO, whoever's going to discuss the financials, you can hang around for that. That's going to be on Monday, just after the bell. And then that last piece of news, they are in international airports. That was a couple weeks ago. We haven't had any new news here about BBAI. Now, taking a look at the relative volume for BBAI, it's kind of dropped. Over the last month, the last 30 days, she's been averaging about 130 million shares. Could be a lot higher than that. Could be a lot lower. But an average of 130. Well, Friday was a lot lower. Way down there at about 78 million. Share structure. Outstanding share count, it's up there. It's like 370 million. I don't know what the insiders own. I'm sure they own something. Subtract that from that outstanding share count. That's going to give you your unrestricted shares, basically the float, which is what's on the market. I don't know what the float is because I don't know what the insiders own. All I can say is it can't be any higher than the outstanding share count, 370. It's kind of high, so we hope the insiders own a lot. Market cap, we're up there at 2.1 billion. That doesn't sound bad for a penny stock. Well, kind of a penny stock. We're in the neighborhood, right? Financials. Is this company making any money? That is always the question with these companies because that's why we invest, to share in the profits. Over the last 4 years, the company's been doing pretty steady revenues. Yeah, they started off at a low point 4 years ago of $145 million. We know that's millions because we've got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on any of the charts we look at here. They then jumped up to 155 million and pretty much have hung right there, with actually kicking up a little bit to 158 million at the end of 2024. And the profits have been growing all along the way, starting from 34 million and ending in 2024 at 45 million. That's great fundamentals so far. Quarterlies. Looking over the last year of quarterlies, we're not doing bad. We're going between 32 and 44 million. And right now we're on the low spectrum. Right now we're down there at that 32 million, which is still in the black, but they are falling on revenues right now when AI is kicking booty. Kind of strange. Their profit margin has been falling most of the time. It is up a little bit compared to the last quarter, but their revenues were down. So it looks like their profit margins have kicked up. Taking a look at the balance sheet for the company. Remembering those 3 zeros here too. Cash equivalents. Let's think of that as the bank. We got about, let's call it 400 million in the bank. Total assets, 600 million. Total liabilities, 332 million. Any funky plays here? Nope. So stockholder equity isn't bad. We got 266 million in profit for us. So let's take a look at the disclosures for the company now. Not that there's anything really to consider. We haven't had any disclosures for about a month. And the last ones we had were with regard to a shareholder meeting. Now, I always like to dive into those to see what they're voting on. Maybe it's a merger. Maybe it's an acquisition. Maybe it's a reverse stock split. Nah, none of those were in there this time. What they voted on was to increase the authorized share count from 500 million to 1 billion, which is okay. That's not going to give us any shareholder dilution or anything like that. It gives them a lot of extra advantages, opportunities. All of those extra shares could be put on the market. Yeah, they'd make a lot of money and we'd get a lot of shareholder dilution, but they can also use those shares as enticements to attract big execs to this company. They can also do all stock transaction deals with other companies and get companies for those shares. So they can do a lot with them, not just shareholder dilution. So that's basically all the information we have for ticker BBAI, except to look at the chart, and we are going to go do that. But before we go, I want to take a look at that company, Hadron, which is not a penny stock. It is a SPAC up over $10, but it is in the sector I think we need to be paying attention to, the pick and shovel AI sector. So as I said, the news got mixed in with their news somewhere in the midst of October, and I don't know why. But it's very interesting to me, and I want to share it with you right now. So let's get some information about Hadron and this SPAC. So the SPAC is called Gig Capital 7. Gig Capital 7 is a private to public equity company, also known as a special purpose acquisition company. These are companies that come onto the market without any business, without any revenues. It's just a bunch of investors buying a piece of property, if you will. They're securing a ticker and they're looking for someone who wants to get onto the major exchange and doesn't want to go through all the work to get there. All they got to do is plug in, and that's what they're doing with Hadron Energy. Hadron is a pioneer in MMR. This is micro-modular nuclear reactors designed to deliver 10 megawatts of power, which will give 2,000 to 8,000 homes power for a year. That's a lot of energy. Hadron's MMRs will be smaller, more cost-effective, and faster to deploy than other proposed MMR power solutions. The revolutionary design of Hadron's MMR allows its reactor core and containment shell to be transportable in a shipping container. They're going to be driving these around the country, delivering them, providing a versatile deployment model for end users. Whether powering an artificial intelligence data center, remote community, or an industrial hub, Hadron's MMRs is expected to provide a reliable and safe and scalable nuclear energy solution. We are talking about companies, data centers, manufacturers being able to buy their own nuclear reactor and put it on their property. I don't know how I feel about that. As Hadron Energy approaches its $1.2 billion SPAC merger with Gig Capital 7, the company showcases its proactive and foundation licensing approach with the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC. Hadron's lightweight water design offers a clear advantage with the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the nation's regulatory for civilian nuclear power. Civilian nuclear power. In addition to this persistent and collaborative approach with the NRC, Hadron has engaged with representatives of the Department of Energy, the federal agency tasked with the promotion of nuclear energy. So I know this sounds really far-fetched, but they're a lot closer than you would think they are, folks. As a matter of fact, it seems that they had a letter come to them from the White House just before the shutdown. Hadron Energy is a cutting-edge innovator in micro-modular reactor technology, and they announced today that they received an official White House communication recognizing the company's critical role in strengthening U.S. energy resilience and national defense infrastructure. The correspondence arrived just days before the federal government shutdown, highlighting the bipartisan urgency of accelerating advanced nuclear deployment to meet the nation's growing energy needs. Folks, what's happened here is we've run into a need so fast, so critically, that we haven't even had time to plan for this growth. This structural increase in America, we have got to increase our power by tenfold. The rest of the world is. We are actually falling behind in this. The letter identified Hadron's 10 megawatt light water MMR program as aligned with the administration's strategic energy and security goals. It also referenced ongoing federal initiatives aimed at streamlining nuclear regulatory pathways, grants, free money, easy laws, and expanding resilient power for mission-critical facilities, including the Department of Defense installations and high-capacity artificial intelligence data centers now designated as critical national infrastructure. And this is what it all comes down to, folks. We've had a lot of situations that are serious, but they consider this more serious because the rest of the world is advancing with AI. And AI needs a lot of bloody power. If you want to be a smart, controlling nation, you better have the power to back up your AI. And that's what we're working on right now. And that's what I think we as investors should be concentrating on, is companies that are going to be supplying the power, the cooling, the grid attentiveness to the companies. This is what every nation is pulling towards. And we are pulling towards it too. So even though AI data centers are going to be big business, they can only operate with the substructure supporting them. Energy is a big one. Nuclear reactors are the only ones I see that can really do the job. Even though I'm not real happy about having 100 nuclear reactors around the country, and who knows how many in my state or even in my city. All right, so there's food for thought, folks. We got a couple stocks to consider, but right now we're going to go take a look at the chart for ticker BBAI. We're looking at ticker BBAI. That's Big Bear AI Holdings. We're going to chart it on my free trading platform, Thinkorswim. Now, I've got it opened up to a 1-day, 1-year chart, and as you can see, she's in an uptrend. A beautiful one. Not only is she bouncing on top of this trend line, but she's bouncing on top of a rising 200 MA. It's the best you can hope for. And these nice big bounces give us opportunities to take gains as day traders. But as an investor, she's moving in the right direction. Now, it was a full year ago, back in November, we had our 52-week low of $1.65. Couple months later, she's climbing, pushing hard. She hits her 52-week high of $10.36. She did that in February of this year. That is a 600% plus run. Now, once she hit that high, she was done. She came down hard and fast, but only down to the 200-day MA. And she's been bouncing off of that very hard, and right now she's taking a bounce, and I'm thinking she's going to start climbing from this point. I'm watching her. Our oscillators, they're a bit weak. Everything has been falling for a while. All of our oscillators are pushing down. All of our MAs are rolling over and pushing down. Our yearly chart doesn't look the strongest by any means. Taking a look at our 6-month, 4-hour view. Well, she's definitely on that trend line. You can see her sitting and bouncing off of that very hard. And right now, what do we got? Looks like we might have a double bottom. A double bottom is a W on your chart. W for winner. At the end of the W, you normally have a push, a nice strong run, the depth of the W, but it can go a heck of a lot further than that. So this is actually setting up right now. Even though everything seems to be pushing down for the most part on the chart, we do see some heat recovery down here in our oscillators. Everything has hit the bottom and just starting to come up as our price shows. So things are just now starting to turn around on our 4-hour chart. Taking a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. 20 days ago, we had a high of $9.44, a fall down to this low of $5.29, and definitely some firm, hard bounces on that trend line. And right now, she is pushing up in a 200 squeeze. Right? She has pushed from underneath all the MAs right to the 50-day. She's basically on it right now. We are underneath a falling 200 MA and above a falling 200 haul. Now, when that 200 haul turns up, when it starts pushing up and that price is on or above the 50-day MA, you can expect 8 out of 10 times for this price to run to and through that 200 MA. Folks, that is like 60 cents run. We're going from $5.80 up to $6.40. And I think she can do it. That's why she's on my watch list. All of our oscillators are warming up on our 1-hour chart. Everything is starting to climb just like the price, just like our MAs. Everything is changing direction right now. Coming down to our 5-day, 5-minute. 5 days ago, we were at $7.04, hitting that low just on Friday of $5.29. Climbing. Once we hit this trend line hard, we bounced, got up over top of this 200, which is flat right there, and now it is climbing. All of our MAs have crossed over that 200. They're climbing, and we have had climb in the aftermarket period, which I love to see. Not a lot of volume to talk about aftermarket, but lots of movement. She's pushing up. Folks, I like ticker BBAI. This is an AI company that isn't just focused on one tight niche. They're going to be working in a lot of different areas, right? They've gone from sports to military to working in airports. They're working abroad in different countries. This is my kind of company. So I like BBAI now, and I like BBAI later. So just keep it on your watch list. You may want to trade it off and on. You may want to get into this and hold it for a long hold. But in my opinion, whenever you see this stock go crazy, you just have this serious rip one day and it starts running. Even if you're a long hold, on those peculiar days, I would sell 50% of what you have, because every rocket, every parabolic run comes back down at least 50%, if not more. So this is a good way for you to cash in and then buy back in and get more shares without having to actually spend any more of your money. I love that concept. BBAI, we didn't cover it all. I never do. So do your own due diligence behind me, folks. Remember, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See you, folks.